Hello everyone, this is Miner Bob. Today we're going to look at map generation in Timber and Stone and how you can get pretty much the game you want. Normally when you're starting out and you're in the world map, you can choose a number of different areas and kind of get the biome and the amount of resources you want. For example, if you click on a particular area, you can see it has whether it has the tree density you want, whether it's going to have water and therefore have fish. Um, but sometimes you look at the other stats and you're like, this isn't quite the area I want. For example, I like areas with lots of chickens. I tend to like good amount of iron and copper and coal, but not so much in the tin. So when you find that perfect area, and for me, it's this little island out here. It's flat. That's okay. It doesn't give you as much mining, but you really can't do as anywhere near the amount of mining unless you start getting up into more than 30 days. But it's a coastal area. So therefore it's going to have fishing. The great thing for me is abundant chickens, 92. I love that stat. Um, Good amount of coal, so we can make our steel later on. Frequent iron, common copper, very good numbers, and dense trees. So this is what I want, so I'm going to go ahead and confirm that. And so here we have the map. And as we look around, it's kind of boring. It's simply a river. We do have a nice big hill so that we can do a fair amount of mining, but not really excited about it. So I'm going to go back, and you'll notice that when I click on the square, the same square, the numbers are still the same. It will not regen these numbers when you go back to the same square. But when you go back to genning the map, you can see that it did indeed generate a new map. Not a vastly different map from last time, but it is different. And if you don't like that one, you can go back and keep trying until you get exactly the map you want. This doesn't really seem that much better yet. Let's keep looking. This one looks interesting. It has an inland dip. I wish it were farther into the center of the map. It does have a nice ridge line, but it's not really that interesting yet. When you consider that you're going to invest a lot of time in this game if you succeed and survive the early days, you really want the map that's going to suit the kind of game you want to play. So let's keep looking. This one's interesting because it does have sort of an inland lake, but again, it's very much on the map edge. It's an interesting ridge line. So if I wanted to play a game in which I was more towards one of the edges so that the road was short so that migrants and merchants could come more quickly, I might look at settling on this hill, uh, having an easy access to lots of fishing, um, and still have a roadway either here or here. Probably I'd make it here and then come from the board and then have a long road that came from the other edge. And then one day, eventually making a road out over the water. But still looking. Now this looks promising, very promising. An inland lake. That is great. this would be an interesting map to play on. Now, an interesting part is that you have a high tree density here. So this is probably where you want to have your tree farming, is in this area, because you don't want it to be too far away. You still want to be able to farm at night in relative safety. It looks like you would probably put your main camp, whether it's a village, a castle, or whatever you decide you want to try to play, in here. Gives you very close access to the river, or to the lake, excuse me, or to the river. So plenty of areas to put in farms. The fact that you have this, it's a bit of a protection, not complete, because wolves can swim across it if they aggravate on your people. Skeletons, of course, can walk underwater, so it's not a complete defense, but it adds to your defense because it slows them down. It gives you time to basically react to enemies coming from that flank. And of course, with the wide open river, that's a fairly complete defense. Sure, skeletons can walk through the water up that edge, but they can't spawn on that edge underwater. So you would really primarily be defending from this direction and this direction, with enemy coming from this angle being slowed down and not coming from that angle at all unless they wandered around. This looks like a really good map and definitely a place to start a game. So I always place my settler's wagon a little offset from where I intend to build my encampment. That's going to be in this area. So I'll put it over here, because I'm going to put a wood pile here, a mining stockpile here and here eventually, and then go from there. Start game, immediately pause. And there you have it. Don't settle for the first map you get. If you have a kind of game in mind that you want to play, just keep going back and regenerating the map, going back and regenerating the map until you get exactly what you want. In this case, I wanted to play a game with a lake, and after about 10 tries, that's exactly what I got. Hope you enjoyed this. If so, leave a like. Thanks a lot. Miner Bob.